Good afternoon from the Kilimanjaro Hotel in Dar es Salaam. My name is Khalifa Said, and I would like to welcome you to this special conversation that we are going to have with Mr. Thomas Östros, who is the Vice President of the European Investment Bank, who started his term on January 27th, 2020. And who is currently leading a high-level delegation to Tanzania to promote investment, his bank's investment in Tanzania. And Mr. Östros has agreed to sit down with the Chanzo for this one-on-one conversation about the reasons for his visit to Tanzania and the plan that the European Investment Bank has for Tanzania and Africa and the global South in general. So most welcome. And on behalf of my colleagues behind the camera, Jackson Noah and Stephen Gimbi, we welcome you to this very special conversation. Mr. Östros, welcome to the Chanzo.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. We know that you are very busy, but you decided to agree to sit down with us for this interview. We thank you very much. Is this your first time to come to Tanzania?
No, it isn't. I was here actually February last year on the European Union Tanzania Business Forum.
Yes.
And that started off a very nice cooperation with local banks in Tanzania. We signed cooperation agreements. And now I'm here to follow up on how the money that we're providing to local banks are reaching the individual small and medium-sized companies, preferably women-led companies, and preferably in the blue economy. So that is one of the reasons why I'm back now, because it's important to do the signature, but it's also important to follow up that it comes out in the real economy, in the real society.
Yeah. So you are familiar with the country?
A little bit. I wouldn't exaggerate, but you know, I'm Swedish. Sweden and Tanzania has a long relation.
Yeah.
So I have followed since I was a kid developments in Tanzania, but I'm happy to be here. It's only the second time.
Yeah. What stands out the most for you about Tanzania? I mean, what do you like the most about the country? I mean, its people.
It's a fantastic, beautiful country with this ancient connection via the sea to the rest of the world, and not only the African continent. An amazing history, amazing people. I would like to come here privately and see a little bit more and have time to travel around, and I will do for sure. My wife tells me all the time that we must go, my wife and I.
So you have had the opportunity to go across the country, or you?
No, I haven't. I was in Zanzibar last year. I will go to Zanzibar also tomorrow, which is also a beautiful part of the country. Amazing.
Yeah. So, in a very layman language, what does the European Investment Bank does? I mean, it's a bank like other banks, no?
We are the world's largest multilateral development bank. That means that we have a rather big balance sheet that can support lending to projects, and we have excellent financial engineers, bankers. But we also have in our bank excellent civil engineers, medical doctors, expertise in environment and so forth, so that we can evaluate together with partner countries what our type of projects would be really good and impactful. So we have both the balance sheet, but we also have the knowledge that we want to share with our partners.
So apart from doing a follow-up on the agreement that were signed during the European Union Tanzania Business Forum, you are also in Tanzania to convince our government to borrow more from your bank and the other private sectors, because I know you lend both the public and the private sector.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are working on a pipeline in Tanzania, both in corporate sector, continued small and medium-sized businesses, but also public sector investments. And I'm very happy and proud to be able to meet the president of Tanzania on Friday, but also the president of Zanzibar on Thursday, and visit now companies which you are supporting. Because I think we are now about to create a very nice cooperation together.
So it's among your activities when you meet these leaders to pitch on behalf of your bank, yeah?
And I will tell and inform the people I meet that we have now reached 10,000 small and medium-sized companies in Tanzania with our support to local banks, 3,000 women-led companies, 900 companies in the blue economy. So we are really starting to have very nice impact. But we are also very happy that one of the water and sanitation projects that we have supported for a long time in Lake Victoria is about to be finished. So we have also reason to celebrate things that we have done fully.
Why would a country like Tanzania, and by extension African countries, all members of the Global South, turn to European Investment Bank? I mean, what's your competitive advantage, at least from the perspective of the borrowers?
We want to be partners, equal partners in a joint agreement. We want to respect environment and social conditions. We want to support good projects that is good for the country. And there I think we have a common purpose from be it the private sector or public sector in Tanzania and from us from the European Union. And I think we are a very natural partner and we should deepen that cooperation.
There is a perception on the part of many people in this part of the world, I mean, in Africa and in the Global South generally, that debt actually does not benefit the borrower, but the creditor. So there's been a conversation that lenders, like European Investment Bank, attach so many conditionalities to their loans that if you examine them, you find that the loans actually end up benefiting the creditors and not the recipient or the borrower. So for example, some of the conditionality could be that we are supporting this particular project, but everything needed to implement the project must be outsourced from the country where the bank is based. So in this case, for example, everything has to be sourced from the European Union. If it's a material to construct a dam, or the constructors themselves, what kind of conditionalities does EIB attach to its loans to countries like Tanzania or African countries in general?
I can really understand that perception because there are actors in this field that behave like that. We are not in that business. We are in the business of partnership and we want to do it on equal footing. And I think that is maybe our strongest argument, together with that we have also very competitive agreements that we can do when it comes to interest rates and duration of the loan. That we are also honest brokers. We want to have an honest partnership. And we are not here to take over things. We are here to be partners. Not every country, not every bank act like that, but that is how we do from the European Union.
So the European Investment Bank gives loans without any conditions? Is that what you would say?
We have strong conditions together with our partners. Environment is very important. Social condition is very important. Sustainability of the project, that is a viable long-term project, that is good for the country, impactful for people's lives and their possibility to get a good job. So these are many conditions that we do. But we welcome different suppliers of input. Many European firms are interested, but also other firms are interested in participating. So we are, I think, a good partner in that respect, and we want to be to our African partners.
And so you are also coming to Tanzania at a very critical time when there's a growing resentment among people, not just here in Tanzania, but across the region, towards their government's borrowing behavior. We have seen this, how it has exploded into anti-government protest in Kenya, and we have also seen it in other parts of the world. You must have seen this resentment. As a lender, how do you interpret those developments?
I think we have gone through very difficult times in the global economy, where Africa has been particularly hit. Before COVID, there was a period of access to lending on the private sector. You could issue bonds on favorable terms for many African countries. But after COVID, and then the brutal Russian invasion of Ukraine and the energy prices and inflation that came from that, the financing condition has changed dramatically for many African countries. It has been very, very difficult and expensive to borrow on the private markets. And all African leaders and officials that I meet, they say the multilateral development banks must step in and be supportive, because otherwise projects will not be done. And I agree, we cannot do everything. We're a big bank, but we cannot do everything. But we want to select good projects with partnerships that is sound, to be able to develop the economy.
So you are also visiting Tanzania at a very critical moment also for your institution, the European Investment Bank. We have read the reports of the investigation currently going on of two former banks official for corruption allegation. Of course, the former president has denied that. And also there has been opposition to the bank's choice for Mr. Andrew McDowell as head of the bank's external lending arm, EIB Global. And I was wondering, how do you assess the impact of these developments in your efforts to show up trust among countries like Tanzania? Because you are a bank and you want to be trusted, and then we have these reports coming out of your institution.
The starting point is very strong when it comes to the position of the European Investment Bank, one of the world's most respected multilateral development banks with very strong management. If we have incidents like you point out to, and there is suspicions, we are open our books every time. So the investigating agency can see everything. We have absolutely nothing to hide. So in that respect, we are cooperating with the authorities, and let's see how that develops. Nobody knows. We established EIB Global 3 years ago. That is a branch within EIB that is dedicated to outside EU. And it has been received very, very well and strong. We have certain strengths: water and sanitation, energy. We're probably the world's strongest in financing renewable energy, but also health. Health has become a very important and strong profile for us. And we are now working with WHO to roll out investments in the health sector in Africa.
And you are sure that these reports are not going to impact your reputation as an international financial institution?
Yes, I'm sure, because everybody sees that we are open. We are an open book when it comes to supporting authorities. So let them do their investigation. We will be as helpful as possible. But our strong standing in the world is not threatened.
Okay, so you started off this conversation by telling us that you are here to do a follow-up on the projects that were signed during the previous EU Tanzania. So would you mind, and for the benefit of the viewer of this interview, what are some projects that the European Investment Bank is currently funding or financing in Tanzania?
Just after this interview, I will visit a hospital here in Dar es Salaam, which is a hospital with good reputation that is directing their activities to low-income people. They are now financed via one of the banks that we finance, they finance in turn this hospital. This is an example exactly how we want to work, to support primary healthcare in this case, small and medium-sized businesses, women-led. Now 3,000 women-led companies have got financing via our support to local banks. 10,000 SMEs all in all have reached the benefits that comes from us. So I think we are doing important things together. We will also discuss when we are here and have a closer look, can we also be part of the bus rapid transport system that is now being built up in the next phases? And we are ready to look at, can we also finance that? We are going to look at more water projects in different parts of the country to see, can we be supportive of that? So I think we have now a pipeline being built up in private sector, in small and medium-sized businesses, and in public sector, where we can play a role together.
And so you do that through the Tanzanian government or through private sector actors, like for example financing, you mentioned the bus rapid transit, also this hospital construction. So I just want to get the clear picture of how that is happening. Do you do that through local banks, for example, or through the government?
What is important with the EIB is that we have access to the full portfolio. We can do everything from participating in equity funds that goes in with equity to African companies. We can support directly an African corporation if it is a strong business. We can support small and medium-sized, but then we go via local banks, and we can support public sector investments. So we have a very broad set of tools that we want to discuss with our Tanzanian counterparts to see how can we optimize that.
I'm just wondering, how does a borrower, for example, from European Investment Bank, apart from having these project, apart from having a hospital built, apart from having a working bus transit, bus rapid transit, what unique benefits does a country get when they borrow from European Investment Bank?
You get the European Union partner that will be engaged together with our counterparts in this country to get the best possible outcome of a project. And we will do it on equal terms, seeing each other as partners in developing the country. So you get, I think, a lot beside the money itself. You can also get technical assistance, advice from our best experts on how to do a good water sanitation project, a good energy project, or how to see to that the banks that get the money actually reaches the women that needs the money because they have a business that is in need of expansion.
Yeah, Mr. Östros, thank you very much. I just want to ask you some personal question. You were a Prime Minister of Sweden, no?
No, I was minister in Sweden for 10 years in different positions.
Yes, minister. And I think your trajectory is a little bit different from what we have experienced here in Tanzania, for example, or in other African countries, where you see someone serving in technocracy, like for example working as a banker with a vice president or governor, and then they went to venture in politics. But to you, it's
the other way around.
The way around.
I was I'm an economist. I was
Yes.
very young when I was recruited to become minister, and I was minister for a very long time. And after that, I felt I want to use my experience from being minister, but also as an economist. So I was head of the Swedish Bankers Association. I was a board member of the International Monetary Fund in Washington, and now I'm vice president of the European Investment Bank. So I think I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
How precious different? I mean, from being a politician. Are the pressures there the same?
I'm a policy taker nowadays. I'm not a policy maker. So that's the difference.
Yes. You are an economist.
Yes.
Do you believe that giving poor people cash improve their chances of getting out of poverty?
I think one of the key things behind every country's development also from Sweden. Sweden was Europe's poorest country in 1860s, with famine in Sweden. What made Sweden one of the richest countries? Well, many things: education, infrastructure, the labor movement, equality, but also access to credit. A credit system that was not only for the rich, but also reaches those that are weaker in the capital markets. So this is an important component in development.
But also that can be used as a means of control, don't you think so?
Yeah, and you must do it in a sensible way. You are absolutely right. That is why I think a bank like the European Investment Bank can really be a good partner in this context.
Mr. Oswald, thank you very much. Do you have any final thoughts you wanted to share with us before we...
I just landed this morning.
Yeah.
I look forward to my 3 days in Tanzania.
Yeah.
And especially I'm really honored to meet the President of the Republic. I met her before, but this is the first time I meet her here in Tanzania.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Wishing you all the best in your
Thank
visit
you.
to Tanzania.
Great to see you.
Yes, good to see you. Okay, that was our conversation with Mr. Thomas Östros. Mr. Östros is the Vice President of the European Investment Bank, and he is visiting Tanzania right now, as he said, to follow up on the agreement signed during the recent EU-Tanzania Business Forum. We have heard from him how competitive, how advantageous is to take financing or funding from the European Investment Bank with the issue of climate, environment, and things like that. So we don't have any other further question right now, and we would like to end this conversation right here. I was Khalifa Said, and on behalf of everyone behind the camera, Stephanie Gimbi and Jackson Noah, we would like to say bye-bye, Mr. Östros. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Good
we
to see you.
all the best.
You too. Thank you.